With Sundance right around the corner, there's so many inspirational films that you're going to want to get out there and see, one of them being Invisible Beauty, which is all about Beth Ann Hardison and her amazing journey through being a revolutionary in the fashion industry, and of course one of her wonderful co-directors with her, Frederick Chang. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Well,
Thank you for having us.
I would just like to ask, only because Frederick and I had a chance to talk a little bit about it off camera, how you guys came to meet to bring this wonderful film to life.
Well, Frederick, continue your conversation.
Okay, I'll just say it again. We met in 2014. We go a little bit back. Well, Beth Ann was receiving this award, this fashion award from the CFDA for her work, advocacy work. And I was approached to collaborate on a short film, a little short film that would come on, on stage before Beth Ann received the award. And so that was my first introduction to Beth Ann, and I was captivated because I got to interview her one afternoon, and the story is of her life, her work was just so vast, and the personality and just the way she was telling the story was just so interesting and so captivating. So we kept in touch over the years, and that's how I found out about Invisible Beauty, this film that Beth Ann had been working on already for quite some time, and it was dormant. So that was my first introduction to the project.
Exactly. That's exactly. You told it quite right, accurately so. And it's true that it became like when you say things just were meant to happen, and this is exactly what happened with Frederick and I. It really was meant to happen because I was, like stirring in a pot, figuring how am I going to get this film done? And he came along and he convinced me that already I had begun to think the film has to be about me instead of another subject I was trying to tell. Uh, and um, and and I'm very happy that we made it happen.
Now, Beth Ann, as we kind of did the introduction, you are someone who has revolutionized the fashion industry only because you are such an activist in so many ways. So what was it like throughout your career wearing so many different hats?
Oh, well, that's, listen, when you don't have, when, when you're a master of none, it's very easy to wear different hats. You just, it's not a, it's just things that are called, you're capable of doing many things and you just wind up doing it. Um, you think, oh, if you had one particular thing that you were great at, and this that you knew was your profession, then you don't wear a lot of hats. But when you're, like you come on this earth and you're just like flowing, and you just wind up doing different things you're capable of doing and things that you're meant to do. So there's no there's no trying to figure it out. It just is that you just put one foot in front of the other.
And I recently just read an incredible Vogue article that came out about this time last year. So do you think that your younger self would have ever seen you making these accomplishments throughout your career?
Oh, absolutely. Well said. Good question. No, absolutely not. I'm still impressed that I'm making them now. I'm looking back at myself thinking, oh my God, Jesus, can you believe? And especially when I see the film. Seeing the film really reminded me of who I was just 20 years ago. Because and now I'm in a different position. Now I'm doing something, rolling the ball in a different direction. So I wouldn't have thought it as my younger self, no. But I knew as my younger self, I was always active and moving and doing things all the time. But I would never have imagined this.
And Frederick, what has it been like working with such a power in this fashion industry and such a force to be reckoned with through all of the incredible work that Beth Ann has done?
It was humbling, I would say, because when you speak to everyone that Beth Ann has encountered in her life, and when you start realizing really the impact, because I knew, as I said, like I interviewed Beth Ann a long time ago, and so I knew the trajectory of the life, but to really hear everyone talk about the ramification of like her impact and what she's done for people's lives all over the globe, really. By the end, I was kind of humbled, and I felt like a sense of responsibility to tell that story right, to first and foremost make Beth Ann proud and to not kind of like mess it up, because I felt like it was an incredible story that really deserved an incredible film. So it put the bar very high, but Beth Ann puts the bar very high, I think, for herself. And when you're around her, you just really want to also be at that level.
Now, if you had to give someone like a brief little synopsis on the things in this film that really stand out, what would you give them, Frederick?
So many things. As you said, Beth Ann has worn so many hats as a model, as a modeling agent with her groundbreaking agency, and then as an activist and advocate. I would say, like, for me, what really stood out and what people are really going to, I think, discover is an a sort of untold chapter in the history of the fashion industry and the modeling industry, especially. In the late 90s and 2000s, there was a whitewash of the modeling industry where after the Soviet bloc opened, there was a focus on Russian models and Eastern European models, and the model of color got displaced in a way that far from the golden age that Beth Ann had experienced before. And that's the story we're telling in the film, in the second act. And I think for many people it was just a discovery. It's just a chapter that's not talked about enough. And I think we really just it was important for us to really bring that to light and for people to understand how that shift happened and what role Beth Ann played in that shift.
Now, Beth Ann, if there was a girl who was watching this interview right now who had a desire to become part of the fashion industry, what piece of advice would you give her to keep persevering through the challenges?
Well, I'm not someone who encourages people to model. So I would always say if it's a girl who has an idea, or girl or guy, if they would like to, I'd always think we always need people behind the scenes. And a lot of people think that, oh my God, I want to be in front because that's what you see. But I always say that, being in the model industry is not so easy. It's very hard. It's challenging beyond, and it takes a certain kind of person to put up with it. You have to also be the person that they want in it in order for you to even have a ride. So that's a little difficult. What I would say to anyone who really wants to do anything, no matter what it is, no matter what I even say, is that you really need to do your homework. You really need to recognize what it is that it takes to do something or be involved with something, what's required. It is not just the physical, it's the stamina, the mental and emotional stamina. But also, if you really want to do something, just really recognize and learn a lot more about it before you step into it. I know right now everything is very, very easy. You just step in front of a camera, whether it be TikTok or a person's iPhone, and get pictures done and be known and get to be seen. And that's one way, but that's not the world I come from. So if you can make it that way, right on. Good luck out there, I would say. Ride 'em, cowboy.
That's a solid saying right there. I love the ride cowboy, and especially with the points that you're coming from, because you were in this industry for over 50 years, and it's not easy. It's a tooth and nail kind of industry, whether you're in front of the scenes or behind the scenes. And I think right now, after the few years that we've recently experienced here with COVID and everything else that's taken place, I think that this is the perfect time for this film to come out, to just really give people that inside look, give them that information of how challenging something so glamorous can actually be.
Well said. Look at you. I'm impressed. Well said. No, that's very good. I really appreciate you saying it that way. And I hope that it is true. There are people who have said when they saw the film, our agents, for instance, they really felt this was a timely film. They thought it has more hope than a lot of things you see. And it gives you walk away feeling like, wow, good. You feel, so it's almost like a feel-good film. And when I've heard people say that, I go, really? Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for your thoughts on that, because you're a youthful person and you get it. That's nice.
I want to thank you guys both so much for taking the time to meet with me, chat with me, and not only that, but really inspire me. Whether I was reading your articles or whether just talking to you, I feel like I've learned so much just in this short time that I cannot wait to see this film.
Thank you so much. I'm happy, and I look forward for you to tell us when you think of it, when you see us, and you must look for us.
I will definitely look for you. Thank you guys again so much. Frederick, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, TV8 Bail.
make sure that you check out the Sundance Film Festival and you keep your eye out for Invisible Beauty, because it's going to be one of those movies that changes the way you think about the fashion industry. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back from the break, we've got more of the show, so stay tuned.